Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon for this UNICEF presentation. My name's Catherine Roberts, and I'm going to give you a brief presentation on applying for the UK student visa. So let's start. If you have any questions, then please pop them in the chat box, and then I'll try to address any questions at the end. Any that I can't answer, then we'll take your details and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So when you're ready to apply for your UK student visa, you're going to be applying under Tier 4 of the points-based system. There are 5 tiers of point-based system at the moment, and students come under Tier 4. The Tier 4 is split into 2 categories. We have Tier 4 General and Tier 4 Child. So Tier 4 General is for age 16 and over, higher education, which is the category that I guess most of you listening now will be would fall into. So Tier 4 General of the points-based system. The points-based system is, as it says, it's a system that's based on points, and you need enough points to qualify for your visa. So Tier 4 General, you need 40 points to qualify for the visa, and I'll go through the breakdown of the points that's required and any extra elements in addition to the points that you need to qualify for your visa. So the 40 points is split into 2 categories. The first 30 points is for your CAS, your Certificate of Acceptance of Study. Now, this is a document that's issued by your college or university once you've been offered a place on a course and you've accepted that offer. It's not a physical document. You don't actually receive a certificate, but you'll be given a series of numbers and letters that you would put on your visa application form. And you can't apply for your visa until you've received this series of numbers and letters, your CAS, from your university. So just receiving your CAS number from the university, unfortunately, doesn't automatically award you 30 points. The CAS has to be valid. In order to validate the CAS, it has to be in date. A CAS is only for valid for 6 months at a time. It cannot have been used in a previous visa application. So if you are unfortunate enough to get a visa application refused, for example, you cannot then use the same CAS number in your second application. You would have to go back to your university, and this is something that we would help you with at UNICEF, and ask them for a second CAS number. If you use that first CAS number again, in the next application, you would automatically get a second refusal, which means then you're in the realms of a third application, which is going to impact on your time getting to the UK to start your studies. So this is what we're here at UNICEF to help prevent. We're here to help you prevent getting that visa refusal and delaying your getting to school, or possibly having to defer to the next semester or the next year. So that's what we're here to help you with. So the third way to validate the CAS, the third point that you have to hit, is that you have to supply all the documents that are listed on your CAS. Now, as I said, the CAS is not an actual document. You're not given a physical certificate. It's an electronic document. And usually your university or college will send you an email or give you a copy of your CAS, your electronic document. And on there, it will be listed the documents that the university have asked you to send them in order for them to award you a place on the course. So it's generally your education certificate. So if you're going to do a master's, it would be your degree certificate. If you're going to do your first degree, it'd be your secondary education certificates and things like that. So whatever you've sent to the university to get a place on their course, you must submit with your visa application. All those documents that are listed on that CAS. So if you've been awarded a CAS, it's still in date, it hasn't been used before, and you've listed all the documents that are listed on it, you should be awarded your first 30 points towards your student visa. So the other 10 points to make up the 40 is for your money. It's the amount of money that you need to show the visa officer that you have to cover your tuition fees and your living expenses. And the amount that you need to show is dependent on, excuse me, it's dependent on where you're studying and how long you're studying for in the UK. So if you're studying a course of 12 months or less and you're studying in the London area, you need to be able to show your tuition fees for the full course, plus £1,265 for each month of the course, up to a maximum of 9 months. And the reason it's 9 months is because 9 months is the academic year. So you don't show maintenance for the vacation periods, it's just for the main duration of your course, so 9 months. If you're studying outside the London area, for a course of 12 months or less, again, it's your full course fees plus £1,015 for each month of the course, up to a maximum of 9 months. So if you're doing a course for 12 months, for example, you times that by 9. If you're doing a course of 7 months, you would times it by 7, okay? If you're studying a course of more than 12 months, in the London area, again, it's more expensive to live in the capital, so that's why you have to show a higher amount of living expenses for that area. It's your first year tuition fees only, so you don't show for the whole 2, 3, 4 year course, you show just the first year. Your tuition fees are set by the university, so they're the ones that will dictate what your tuition fees are. First year tuition fees plus £11,385 for your first year living expenses. And for outside London, it's first year tuition fees plus £9,135 for your first year living expenses again. Now, how you show your money for UK visas is very specific. It's very different to other countries such as the US, Canada, Australia, who are a bit more flexible on maintenance. For the UK, it's very, very specific, and they are very strict that the money is in the correct order and you have the right amount. Again, and this is something that at UNICEF we will go through with you. So once we know exactly where you're studying, the length of your course, we will tailor the information to your personal circumstances, so you know exactly what money you need to show and how you need to show. We'll check those documents and make sure everything is in order before you go to submit your application at the Visa Application Centre. Because as I said earlier, if there's anything missing, if your documents are not correct, you will likely receive a visa refusal, and then you're in the realms of trying to get a new application and going through the whole process again, and potentially could miss the start of your course. So that's what we're here to prevent. If you're doing postgraduate, your children or your wife, your husband with you to the UK, you would also need to show that you have enough finances to cover their stay in the UK as well. And again, that's something we will talk you through individually, and again, tailor that information to your personal circumstances. So just to recap, you must have enough money to cover your first year tuition fees and your first year living expenses, and the amount you need to show is dependent on whereabouts in the UK you are studying, so which university you've chosen and been accepted at, and the course you are studying, so the length of your course. So as I said at the beginning, points-based system is based on points. You need 40 points to qualify. So you've got a valid cash, you've got your 30 points, your maintenance is all in order, so you've received your 10 points. So unfortunately, just having your 40 points doesn't automatically guarantee getting your visa issued. There are a couple of other elements that you have to pull together to qualify for your UK student visa. And that's why it's very important to come to us at UNICEF, and we can pull all these small elements together, make sure all the boxes are ticked, all the documents are correct before you go and submit your application. So one of those extra elements is your English language ability. You must be able to show the visa officer that your English is at a sufficient level to enable you to follow a course of study in the UK. And whether you need to sit a separate English test for your visa application is dependent on which university you choose to study at and what level you're studying at. So again, we'll tailor that information to your personal circumstances. Once you're ready to apply for your visa, once you've been accepted on a course, we can let you know if you need to sit a separate test. If you do need to sit a separate test, the only tests that you can do at the moment are the IELTS test, and that's at the British Council. Unfortunately, their offices are currently closed. The next appointments available on their system is September, because they are closed. So, we don't even know if they'll be available in September yet. You can do a Pearson's test, which can be taken at the Uniserve Nairobi office, if you're able to get to Nairobi. I don't know if anything is available in Kampala yet. Alicia, do you know that?
Yeah, there are tests available at places like Makerere University.
Okay.
But the UNICEF office there will be set up in the next month, so you can take tests there as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you'll be able to contact Alfred at our Kampala office in Uganda, and you can arrange to have your Pearson's test taken there if you do need one. And again, we'll tailor the information to your personal circumstances once you've been accepted on a course, and we can tell you exactly if you do need to take that separate test for your visa. So the other element that you need to get on top of your 40 points and your English is your medical certificate. The only medical certificate you need for a Tier 4 general student visa is a TB test. That's your tuberculosis test. Again, Alfred will give you the details of where to take the test in Kampala. It's usually at the International Office of Migration, and he can give you the address of where to go. And then the final point is your credibility interview. So you have your 40 points, you've got your CAS in order, you've got your maintenance in order. So the final part is you possibly might be selected for an interview. So once you've submitted your visa application at the Visa Application Centre, you may then be called by a visa officer who is based in the UK for a credibility interview. Not everybody now is selected for interview. They are random selections, or sometimes if the visa or checker has a query on your application form, they may call you to sit a short interview. The interview is always in English, and it's usually you at any time. So you need to be prepared just in case you are selected for an interview. And again, this is something that UNICEF will help you with as part of the interview. And we'll give you an idea of the types of questions you'll be asked and the answers that you would be looking to give based on your application and your circumstances we offer at UNICEF. So it is very important to be prepared just in case you are selected for the credibility interview. And it is what it said, it's assessing your credibility, asking you questions and looking to check that your main reason for applying for a visa and traveling to the UK is to go and study in the UK, and that it is studies. And that's something that we'll go through with you individually once you're ready to submit your application. Unfortunately, if you don't perform well at interview, even you've got your TB medical, excuse me, but if you don't perform well at interview, you don't pass the interview, the visa officer can then refuse your visa at interview just in case you are selected. So the timescales, when can you apply for a visa? I mean, obviously everything has changed this year. The visa application centres remain, but in general, the general rules are, in normal circumstances, that you can't apply for your visa more than 3 months prior to your travel date, and you can't university. So that's what I was talking about right at the beginning. Your certificate of acceptance of study is the document that allows you to then apply for your visa. You can't apply for a visa until you've been offered that CAS. So, and as I said, it cannot be more than 3 months before your travel date. All visas are now processed in the UK. So you complete your visa application form, and this is something that from the beginning to the end will help you create an account online, complete your visa application form online, get your supporting documents in order and check they're okay. So then you go along to the Visa Application Centre, your documents are scanned and uploaded, so you don't have to submit your original documents anymore. You'll be given those back, based in the UK. So UK Visas and Immigration team in the UK. They will assess your application. It can take up to 15 working days. And during peak busy periods, it can be much longer. So it's really, really important to get your application in good time so that you don't delay the start of your course because you haven't received an order prior to submission. So what if your visa application's refused? And again, this is something we're here at UNICEF to help you prevent, to make sure everything is in order before you, so to get a visa refusal. The visa fee, which is currently around $500, is not refunded. So you don't receive a refund. You would then have to start the whole process again, which is what I touched on earlier. So you would have to get a new CAS from your form, get your documents in order, anything that you'd missed in your previous application, make a new appointment at the visa application centre. And if they are busy during a peak period, it may mean that you actually can get your visa application submitted, but you don't get your decision back in time to start your course. And then the university may cancel the start of your course and you may have to defer to the next semester or the next year. So again, really important for a student visa to make sure everything's in order before you submit. Your application form is complete and your documents are in the right order, because what you don't want is to get this at the start of your course. So what are the common mistakes? What are the main reasons why people get their visa applications refused? So I've already touched on some of them. So not applying early enough, which I've talked about, that you need your CAS to start your visa application and it must be valid. Not applying with original documents. It's not a requirement now for you to, all your documents are now scanned and uploaded and sent electronically for assessment. But we do ask at UNICEF where you can that you do submit original documents, because it does make for a better scanned. If you're sending a photocopy to then be scanned, if the visa officer can't read the document very well, it could delay the processing of your application. Please do provide original documents. Not providing your TB certificate, which I stated is the medical certificate that you need for your Tier 4 visa. If your visa applicable information from your form. No evidence of your English language. So I talked about you possibly might need to sit a separate English language test as part of your visa application stances when you're ready to apply. And again, with money, insufficient funds. So again, not having the correct amount of money, or your documents not being in the correct format when you submit your application. Progression. So this is linked to also with exceeding time limit of study. The two kind of go together. So this is linked to that you have to show the visa officer that you're progressing academically. So you're going, for example, from secondary to postgraduate degree. So you're following the set pattern. If you keep failing modules, failing courses and reapplying, the visa officer may consider that you're not a genuine student, and then when they come to you on credibility, that they don't believe you're a credible student. So academic progression is very important, whether you're in the UK or outside the UK. And exceeding time limit for study, again, you can be refused for more course after course after course. You're only allowed to do so many years study in the UK at certain levels. So for undergrad, to complete your degree level education, which includes a master's degree as well. So undergraduate and masters. There are some exemptions to that rule, such as medicine, law, and the general rule for degree level study is 5 years in the UK. Excuse me. So how will the current COVID-19 situation affect your UK studies, and can you apply at the moment for your Tier 4 student visa application centres in Kampala in Uganda are closed? And we don't have a set time when those visa application centres will open at the moment. So it's a case of keep speaking with your counsellor, keep information when you can apply for your visa. When you can physically submit it at the visa application centre, we will let you know. You can still make your application, completing your visa application form, collating your supporting documents, that you have everything ready for when those visa application centres open. Then you can make an appointment and go and submit for the September intake. The UK are hoping to open international flights for that time. But again, I mean, it's still 3 months away and anything can happen in that time. So again, keep you know as soon as we have information on that. So if you had already applied for your visa prior to the flight closing and then weren't able to travel, so if you received a visa to allow you to travel to the UK, but then you weren't able to travel, there are provisions in place right to the end of 2020 at the Coronavirus Immigration Help Centre, and we can help you with that if you're in that situation where you had a visa issued but were unable to travel because the flights closed, and we can advise you what to do and when to do it. So what if you are a student in the UK at the moment, which most students now, if they've already started on a course, will be continuing their studies online. Your visa is due to expire. It will automatically be extended up to the 31st of July 2020. Once we get to the 31st of July, that date will change as well. So another month will be added on to the end of August. So you won't be considered to be in the UK illegally if you're affected, you've been unable to travel or extend your visa due to the coronavirus pandemic. So please don't worry if advice on that. But your visa will automatically be extended to the 31st of July 2020. So how will the coronavirus outbreak affect your travel to the UK? So as I said, the visa application says you're able to travel to the UK or apply for a visa at the moment. But once that changes and once you are able to apply and get your visa and then travel to the UK, there is currently, which began from the 8th of June, there is a quarantine period or self-isolation period that is now, you will be asked to self-isolate, to quarantine for a period of 14 days. You will have to provide your contact details and your journey detail you're taking when you plan to travel, and where you will be staying once you arrive in the UK. And you will have to remain at that residence for a minimum period of 14 days. Change in the coming weeks and months. They may introduce a test on arrival. That means you don't have to do that. So again, keep speaking with your counsellor, and then as of today, that's the information that is still in place. So this is the contact information for the Nairobi office. Obviously, contact your Kampala office if you have. Here I'm based in Nairobi, but if you speak with Alfred in Kampala and he can't answer the question, then he'll contact me here in Nairobi, and we'll answer any questions where we can. As I charge, we don't charge anything to you or your parents for all the advice that we give and all the help that we offer, right from helping you with your university application to your visa application and getting your visa application submitted. So if there are any questions, please pop them in the chat box and I'll go through them one by one. And then if you pass your details on to Alfred, and then I'll answer the questions at a later date. Right, so let's have a look. Okay, so if you pay your accommodation in full for the year by August, do I just need to show my receipt? The answer to that is unfortunately no. UK visa discount 1 month's worth of your living expenses regardless of how much you've paid. So tuition fees is different. If you pay your tuition fees in 20%, £1,000, whatever you've paid of your tuition fees is deducted from your total and you just show the remainder, or zero if you paid in full. So yes, you would show your receipt. Regardless of how much you've paid, UK visas will only deduct 1 month's worth of money and you must show the remainder with your visa application. And then if you're staying in accommodation organised by the university. So if you choose a private accommodation, they won't deduct anything regardless of how much you've paid, and you would have to show the total amount with your visa application. If you got a C or above in your IGCSE exam, do you still need to do the IELTS? The answer to that is depend on what level you're choosing to study. So again, we will tailor that information to your personal circumstances, but your exam results makes no difference to the requirement for an IELTS. The requirement for the and the level you're studying at, where you choose to do your studies, not on your IGCSE exam results. The university has said they can't issue a CAS right now and are basically waiting for clearance by the Home Office. Can we get an approximate date? Checking with your counsellors, the website, and as soon as we get information from universities on CAS issuance, then we will let you know. If you speak with Alfred and let him know which university it is that you've applied, idea of when they're likely to issue the CAS. But yeah, keep speaking with your counsellor. If your university does not need you to do the English test, must you still do it to apply for the visa? So the answer to that is no. If the university, that's very separate from your visa application. The two are not linked. So again, we would need to know which university you've applied to and what level of study you're doing, personal circumstances. What happens if the visa application offices are not open yet in August? Will it affect your university start date? If your start date will still remain the same, as I understand, it may well be that you find your first weeks or months of your course may be online. So remote learning for the first part of the course, visas and the flights reopen, then you'll be able to travel to the UK to continue your course physically in person. But yeah, my understanding is that if that's September, October, then your courses will still go ahead. You will just begin your courses via remote learning to start with. I'm currently in the UK. My visa expires at the beginning of August. Can I reapply in the UK or do I have to come back? So again, that all depends on the situation, resubmission, reissuing visas and whether flights are available for you to travel back to Kenya. There are some repatriation flights that are available if you did want to come back to Kenya, okay, and your visa will be extended if nothing has changed until then. So as I said earlier, currently they're extending visas to the 31st of July. So you wouldn't be classed as being in the UK. You can to either apply for your new visa or leave the UK. You wouldn't just be able to remain there and use the coronavirus as a reason for not doing anything. Centres in the UK and the flights, then you would be expected to either apply for your next visa then or return to Kenya, or sorry, Uganda. Do I score a band score of 6 with 6 in listening, 5 in reading, 6 in writing, 7.5 in speaking? So do I qualify for a elaborate a little bit more on that one? Do you think the tuition will change due to the situation? Again, that's down to the universities. We may well find that you need students to go and study in the UK. So they may well not increase their school fees, but unfortunately, we just don't know that yet. I don't know, Rahim, do you have any information on that? Or Alicia?
We don't right now, but we'll get back to you.
Yeah, so again, keep speaking with your counsellors and you know, the universities that you're interested in applying to if you haven't already, and they'll be or not. Any other questions anybody wants to ask while we're still online? I got a band 6 in IELTS, but my university accepted my KCSE. Will I sit for another test? You're studying at and what level? And again, we'll tailor that information to your personal circumstances when you come in and see your counsellor, and let you know whether you need to sit a separate IELTS test, a UKVI IELTS test. Asking for an English test is very different to you having to do one for your visa. Can I do the TOEFL? No, TOEFL's not accepted by UK visas, or Duolingo. No, the only ones you can do at the moment is the Pearson's. You can do at the hopefully at the Kampala office in the next month if you do need to do one for your visa. So speak with Alfred and we can advise your application. Are there any other questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, then thank you very much everybody for joining us this afternoon. We will continue to have some presentations, so please check the website to know if you want to repeat the session, if you missed anything, or you know anybody else that would be interested, then get them to call into the office and we can keep, as I say, keep speaking with your counsellors, keep checking the websites, and as soon as we get more information on the current situation, then we'll keep you updated.